Road.
What? Road.
Down the road.
Down the road we go.
Down the road we go.
Yeah, ladies and gents, down to the trough we go.
Yes.
Let's
So
go.
let's go.
Mhm.
I'm so looking out for all the R's that you're gonna say.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. My
Can
weakness.
you say scary?
Scary.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot do the.
Can you
know
say
the-
hurry?
Hurry.
Hurry.
It feels like an English class, ladies and gents.
Hurry up, guys. Hurry up.
I feel like retiring already. Anyways, Absolute Zero going to be
You have
banning
the same
out.
problem as Ronnie Chin.
Your team
He's
has
called
Absolute-
Warnie.
Absolute Zero banning away the Hayabusa. And
is
Flash gonna ban out the 1-1. Response coming out from Absolute Zero is to the Harif. Similar bans as we saw so far, especially from game number
Is it
2.
the same draft? Is it the same band so far?
Harif and Hayabusa so far. Should expect a Phobias coming up next from the side
Okay.
of Absolute Zero, because you don't give the Phobias over to the side of Ken, because you give Ken the Phobias, he can 1v9.
So far, I think that we do have a what's the word? We have a pattern coming in from Coach Z's, right? Usually, first two bands we're looking at 1-1, we're looking at Baxia. Has that been the same for the past 3 games?
Yeah, actually, in fact, the previous game was a 1-1. Coming up next should be a Baxia as well, because Baxia in this particular patch is really broken, but maybe they can potentially look to leak it out.
Okay.
Because don't forget, your first pick usually at this rate is a Kalia, or they can actually also first pick a Baxia, right? So that's something that
Yeah, that's true.
you can do. But it feels like based on this idea, I think it's a lot easier. First picking the Baxia makes more sense because number 1, you flex pick that. Number 2, it's a counter to Kalia. And now Team Flash is supposed to pick up the Kalia themselves. Seems like this time around, Team Flash, yeah, they're not going to give a Kalia over. They're going to ban it out themselves.
Okay, so they would probably have to worry if whether they want to ban the Baxia or not for their third ban. The problem is that we have seen before AZ going for their Ube threat. So even when it comes down to the Baxia, it's not something that we would generally want to see being leaked out over to AZ. So Team Flash, they actually have a lot of things that they're gonna have to consider.
Yep.
But it's kind of scary how there are so many of these pocket picks, different kind of game, different kind of compositions, different kind of strategies that AZ has played that we are able to just that we are able to just kind of lay it down onto the table.
Yeah,
Right.
Team Flash themselves also can get very creative with the draft as well. Yesterday, we just witnessed a Baxia Angela Wombo combo
Yeah.
coming up from Team Flash. Don't forget, there's also the threat of Guinevere. Yes, I know,
Yeah.
but there's also the threat of a Guinevere coming up from Hades as well. That's something that he can play.
I
So
feel that's kind of dated though.
yeah,
I
it
do
is.
think so.
I'm literally throwing like blast on the past kind of drafts kind
Right.
of thing, right?
Okay,
So
that's a Baxia first pick, right?
it should be a Baxia
Yeah,
first
it
pick.
should be the Baxia first pick.
Should be a Baxia first pick, but
Gives them the
apart from that, there's also
opportunity.
a potential. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
there we
I
go.
was about to say Moskov or something. Moskov is good for the side of Team Flash. You can match the rotational speed of Baxia, and also not say rotational speed, not in spinning form, but you can rotate from one lane to another.
10,000 RPM.
I don't catch that reference.
No, it's just random numbers with revolutions per minute.
Anyways,
Anyway.
that was so random, bro. I can't even save you there.
No.
But
no.
I'm looking to see how Team Flash really ramp up that RPM for this kind of draft, because these first 2 picks, Juicing is also available unless Curtizi also wants to go for the Farsa this time as well. But Farsa looks very vulnerable against the Baxia.
Yes, that's the problem. I actually think that they do not want to. Never mind.
Your team is
I was kind of hoping that they don't focus so much onto the mage first. Moskov is definitely an arguably best pick here. It's either the Granger or go to Moskov, but personally I think that we do have Vanix that is a lot more comfortable with the Moskov, so just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
He's a monster shredder over at the late stages of the game as well, so we can put it as that. Baxia at this point in time is very early game centric. Very strong in rotations, very strong in damage in the early game departments as well. So I do think that Team Flash might want to look into that early game assurance. With Moskov and Farsa, I think that is not too bad. So focus a little bit more on the roaming trio. The third pick, the third R3 pick, they should generally just look at what kind of roamer that they want that could assist in the early stages.
Oh, you talk about like, rotational speeds. Here we go. That's the low E that I was talking about, right? Like, now you're able to send the rolling ball to the back line and then start opening up flanks. Usually the biggest problem about Baxias is that you need
Full
to be
odds.
really unpredictable regarding where you're coming from right now. The
Right.
low in the toe can use diversion for Baxia to go to one random bush at the back, and then you can come in for that flank. I'm actually anticipating a Mathilda coming up from the side of Absolute Zero instead. Imagine a Baxia rolling and engaging, and then you can pull the Baxia back like a yo-yo. It's like a two-hero CC kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose so. That would be kind of dumb, actually. But okay, for now, we're looking at Glue that has been picked up over
Okay.
to the side of Team Flash, and that is going to go over to the hands of Ken. They actually finalized onto their their EXP
Yeah.
laner relatively early.
Yep.
So they definitely do want to kind of play around with the roamer as well as the jungler just a tad little bit. I thought that they would want to focus on the roamer specifically because they want to cater to the early stage. The first 3 pick coming from AZ has already more or less suggest that they want to play in the early game.
Mhm.
They have a very strong early game, so one of the roamers that they're gonna have to catch out onto really just depends on how strong they want to kind of move forward with the tension.
Another food for thought is that the
Your
Baxia
team is banning.
can even go into a roam position as well. It can also be an XP laner, it can also be a jungler. Team Flash on the other hand, now Coach Zace has to make a very educated guess. Right now he's got a lockdown mostly Frankos. I'm expecting more rapid dude
Your team is banning.
heroes getting banned
Good
out.
ban. That chip is actually a really good ban. That is one of the heroes that I thought that would have been a very good pick coming from Team Flash. Same thing, early game has a lot of damage on that department. But aside from all of the tanks out there, I would still think that having an EXP Hilda is not too bad unless they want to put a roaming Hilda. That's okay, but they would definitely be lacking a little bit of crowd control, which is something that Team Flash might want to have. So Gato Kacha, I don't think it is the best case scenario for the early game, but it works well for Team Flash's lineup.
Yeah.
Your team
Angela
is
getting banned out, like what I mentioned. The Mathilda threat is still lingering for the side of Absolute Zero. If Team Flash wants to play around that, it's also something that you should
Your
look out
team
for. There's
is
Padang
banned.
taken away, a lot of roamers being taken out by both these two teams.
So now we're looking at the R4 blind pick coming in from Team Flash. It probably boils down to the roam or the jungler. I think that they want to leave the jungler for the last. So no, maybe not.
Yeah, I think you can do that because, you know, Hades is that wild factor from the side of Team Flash, right?
True, yes.
He may go crazy, he might pick a Hellcat again. Do you remember those times? Yeah.
Man. Okay, so right now,
There you go.
Cho.
Your
Okay,
team
so they
is
are sticking to their guns and they're sticking to what they're used to, having the JPL kind of tag,
True.
a game of cat and mouse, right?
Yeah,
A game of
street.
tag. So just going rush out onto AZ, picking up the CC just so that they will be able to have a very good answer over to the glue. Now the roam position. Is it gonna be an
Yeah.
Estes? Is it gonna be a flop?
Your team
Woo!
is banned.
Let's go, Kaja. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen this hero in a long time, ladies and gents. Absolute Zero. Man, that brings us back to the roots.
Hold on a second.
If Cho's getting shown by side of Team Flash, Kaja comes out as a roamer, then you have a Baxia in a jungler position.
I know that this is kind of out of the
Nah,
question because
yeah, I
You
think I
what
know
I'm-
what
you
you're
know what I'm
trying
gonna
to say,
say?
but
Okay.
no, the Flicker ultimate is very important for the side of Kaja.
okay, got it.
I read your mind. I got you, bruv.
Okay, okay. You never know. You know, it's an interesting topic that can, you know,
Crazy
can,
idea
can-
number 4.
Crazy idea number 4. Yeah, it
Yup.
can be on the table. It's something that they can consider. The good thing is that they will have got the Baxia roaming around the map almost all the time and applying pressure all across the map, as opposed to being stuck in the jungle in situations that they really needed the Baxia. Because Kaja is not exactly the most tanky
Yep.
bird.
It's a
Right.
it's a utility bird.
Yeah.
Right? Like the main goal is to basically try to hook somebody from the side and then after that burst it down. They've got the burst from the side with low E and the Granger as well. They also got the Baxia to basically continuously slow. Technically speaking, the CC is considered a burst. If you land down the curtain call on one person,
Yeah.
it just shreds, right?
Yep.
Even if they land it on top of the glue or even on the Cho, you expect that person to die. So right now, it's how Team Flash gonna abuse the fact that one of them is definitely going to be sacrificed to be dragged. What is the follow-up from the side of Team Flash?
So I think that this is a very similar lineup as to compared to game number 2. This is just hands down, flat out
Till the enemy reaches the
pick off.
battlefield.
They just
Yep.
want to go for pickoff. They want to identify that one player, rush for the one player, kill this guy. We have an advantage. Move on to the next, and then on to the next, and then on to the next.
Yep, Rapid Dude definitely confirmed. Flicker on the Kaja, that will be a roaming one. None on the Baxia jungle. So it's back to the battle of, fighter tank junglers again.
This is not too bad of a roam, considering the fact that Kaja does definitely help with the wave clear, which is something that Loi is not necessarily too amazing at. However, we're looking at the Fasa plus the Chill. These two are crazy.
Ooh, big damage coming up on the side of Curtisi and Ken. Vendetta forced to use the Vengeance, may able to stay alive just a little while, but Curtisi picks up first blood.
And with that all said, Team Flash gives himself the first very easy kill. Not the best, but it's okay because we're talking about EXP laner. They will be able to get themselves a really good farm, or rather just we'll get back into the mix pretty simply and pretty fast.
Yeah, JPL on the other hand, just spamming that recall for funsies as well, which is very interesting, right? Usually you see JPL trying to tag onto the enemy rover to be able to suss out where where the location is. But now you're facing up against the Kaja. Kaja should be able to poke the Chol relatively easily because don't forget, Chol is kind of short range as compared to a Kaja.
Now, as we do have Hades as slowly making his way down to the bottom lane, Vendetta is only at level 2. So he doesn't really have a very good priority in this lane, as you can pretty much see. He's currently level 2 versus a level 3 glue. So not much of that early game roundabout kind of thing from Absolute Zero. They really actually kind of need the CC to join into the fight to really deal with the glue. I'm not too sure whether the yo-yo, because the yo-yo technically deals percentage-based damage based on HP. We'll talk about it later.
Kidnapping somebody from the side of Absolute Zero over to the other side, but the further airstrike, not enough damage to deal away with none, but it opens up for Flash SG to be able to take control on the turtle pit.
Now, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. CC's yo-yos deals damage based on the opponent's max HP.
Yep. It's a carry version of EXP.
So that means that CC is actually a very bad answer to a Xbox.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
Something like that, I guess.
So hear me out. For those people that may not really quite understand what I mean by that, right? When it comes down to Xbox, he has two forms of sustenance. Number one, his health. Number two, his armor. His armor is the one that takes more than 50% of his general sustenance, and the HP is quite literally the red bar. So if you ask, if you have to be really technical about it, his HP is really low. Which is why, if you use an execute onto an Xbox, even though he is very close, in terms of overall sustenance is lower than that 10%, you use execute, you don't kill him.
Hold on a second, you're telling me that red bar is actually his actual HP?
Yes, the red bar is his actual HP.
Does that work for Sky Piercer though?
Actually, if it's the same concept as execute, it will be.
That was gonna be interesting, ladies and gents. But okay, right now, as we were talking about it, there's nothing much happening around the map. But okay, as I said, that diversion coming up from the side, Absolute Zero bringing in Nan and Buji. Now Ken this time around, the curtain call will be there. Buji tried to lock Ken down, but he will be able to try to escape.
Oh
that
my goodness.
Last minute CC saves his life.
There's really not much the Vendetta can do in this lane. He even used his curtain call to really deal with the glue. So throughout this entire game, we'll probably have a little bit more information and to visually see if Vendetta deals good damage over to Hades. Once Hades have gotten himself like the Oracle, himself the Immortality and all that kind of jazz to beef up the amount of Firaga armor he has.
Second turtle has spawned up. Don't forget Moskov right here does have the SOD. Can TP himself all the way down to the turtle fight just in case if he needs it, as long as he keeps his lane fulfilled. Right now you can see, Rapid Dude nowhere to be seen by the side of Team Flash right now. They're walking in this one blind.
We do have 2v2 down on the turtle lane. However, Flash do have 2% that's very close to the turtle right there in the middle. While Absolute Zero, they don't really quite have too much resources that is actually going to be posted down in the bottom lane. In fact, we don't quite see Rapidude anywhere. In fact, I think that for the side of JPL all the way up to the top lane is more or less so where the Kaja is.
Yeah, if you notice how Hades using the Flames throw to basically zone the members of Absolute Zero, baiting and pushing the members from the side of Absolute Zero away. We'll be able to secure that one, but now don't forget, Curtain Call will be committed. Absolute Zero, they walk away with nothing.
So it's a very slow game. We're only 5 minutes into the game and it's currently 0-1. Both teams are sort of playing a little bit more towards objective. However, Absolute Zero, they understand that their win condition does not necessarily lie in the early stages. So there's really not much reasons for them to go overly crazy. Even though we are talking about Bougie that is playing as a Loi, he's not really using his diversion all that much because at this point in time, he's got to be real careful about clearing his middle lane first, as his middle lane is generally going to be a slower clear as compared to a Pharsa plus a Cho.
And don't forget, Pharsa can also wing by wings to rotate even faster as compared to Loi. Yes, technically speaking, Loi can use the diversion to get there anytime, but that's one massive ultimate being committed.
So currently with a total still left about 60 seconds until that eventually pops up. Team Flash themselves also doesn't seem to have be looking for these kind of opportunities, despite their early game being not too shabby. Let's not forget about the fact that we're looking at Baxia. Baxia does have very early game nutty damage with all these shields, so if they initiate, they can do something.
Looking for a pick-off, Cho will be the one. JPL getting busted down with the help of Silas as well. SOD will be able to land. Vanix joining the fight right here, taking on the Sellers at the same time. Flamethrowers from the side of Hades. Nan trying to slow it down. Vanix will get taken down by Nan, and Ken possessing Vendetta as they run away. Hades, the last insanity, explodes onto Ken.
Katizi somehow managed to get himself away from all of that danger, even though that Baxia was literally right in the face of the Pharsa doing the feathered airstrike. Quick little flicker, auto get her out of dodge. Even I myself from the spectator view can't even see where the Pharsa was, to be very honest. But at least they did manage to catch a kill down on the Vanix as the very important curtain call latches him.
That's the one very good pick-off coming up on the side of Absolute Splash SG on the member Absolute Zero. Bougie getting taken down right there.
To survive 7 minutes of this game, Flash is the one that is going up for all this initiation play, as closing out the gaps as a Cho definitely is so much more easier as compared to a Kaja. Of course, the good thing about a Kaja is that it is a suppression skill. As such, bringing in a Purify is not gonna do anything for the team. As such, Team Flash, most of them have decided to opt for a Flicker, just so that they will be able to put some more gaps between themselves and the Kaja.
But the Ezra used to zone the members of Absolute Zero away. Vanix securing the topside turret. Don't forget, bottom lane, Flash SG managed to also penetrate down bot. Absolute Zero, on the other hand, once again, back to sieging, but don't forget, they're just gonna handshake into this team fight. JPL getting busted out by Silas, picking up a double kill. Ken goes down next, and now Curtisi and Vanix, they got linked together by Vendetta on the CC. Their HP bars getting shredded by that CC, and Vanix will be able to slip on away for now, but Bougie braving the turret, inching towards him. Vanix trying to make a play right here. The stun will not be able to land, and Silas picks up a Maniac.
That's big! Coming into a very lifeless early game. They picked up a Maniac coming in at 8 minutes into this game and has managed to tally out the score, tally out the gold, or rather the economy.
Oh no. Hades forced to use the last insanity right there. Should be able to get on safely just to use it for a wave clear. But for now, you know, Absolute Zero penetrated right in the middle of the map against Flash SG.
I think that they are going to be fine. It is still going to be a ping-pong show for these two teams, as they are just winning and losing at the same time. But let's take this opportunity to take a look at some of these itemizations, shall we? With two of the items already built up for the side of Moscow, with the Corrosion Scythe as well as the Golden Staff. While for the Granger, we're looking at a Hunter Strike as well as Sky Piercer, and even the Malefic Roar. We're looking at 1.6 thousand gold lead between Silas and Vanix. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but Moskov's items are a little bit more cheaper. For Silas, technically speaking, as long as he doesn't die, yeah, he has like 5 kills to himself, so we talk about the Sky Piercer value, it is almost as valuable as an item for now. The execution damage is really something that Flash needs to look out for.
So we'll see how that is going to work out. And we talk about the Sky Jizzle onto the effects of how little HP Xbox has.
Divergent sending everybody over the side of Hades. Hades goes into the Firaga armor mode, but Cortese will be able to burst down Rapidos. Vanix will be able to 1v1, shutting down Salas in the backline. Vendetta on the chase, try to chase after Vanix, or even Cortese right here. Can try to peel for the team, but Bougie will be there. But at the same time, Vanix try to push away Vendetta. Is that a floating Granger? But in the meantime, right now, Vanix in a spot of trouble. Vendetta will be able to secure the kill onto Vanix.
You know, Granger used to tell tell his parents, you know, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. Indeed, he did.
That's a very interesting bug. That makes my day. But now Cortese in a spot of trouble. This time around, Vendetta on that CC, spreading the damage though. But turns out he's running out of steam, and Last Insanity will be able to secure that Kiro there. Rapid Dude flickers forward, but he gets kicked instead. But not enough of damage from the side of Flash SG. But JPL will be trying to tag onto it. Bougie, the duality proc coming in.
Oh!
Silas making out the execution from a shot from downtown.
Yet another yin-yang reaction that happened in the last second between the Cho as well as the Xbox. But unfortunately not quite enough damage nor range for Salas to throw yet another Death Sonata right into their way. So far, back and forth again, right? We're looking at about 600 gold lead in favor for Team Flash, but with the fact that Absolute Zero currently, they do have got the opportunity and the chance to be able to hold on to the Lord and get themselves quite a bit of the priority. Hades is probably going to come in soon.
Here, can see play right here. Last Insanity, Nuts just secures a lot for themselves. Rapid to down low just a little bit. Ken will be able to tag. Oh, that's only misses. Not insane coming up from side of Flash SG. Now they have around the Bougie. The Yin Yang overturn will be able to turn JPL down to his grave. And Hades right here, but Vanix is racking havoc around the objectives, taking down mid lane turret.
Very good split decision coming from Vanix, realizing that they have already lost the battle, as well as the fact that the SOD the SOD missed. Might as well just look for external uses, or rather external ways of tallying out the scoreline. So getting themselves the T1 in the middle lane definitely is super big for them, considering the fact that they still have their own T1.
Yeah, there's so many siege minions. Thanks, Observer, for pointing that out. Top side, they need to Flash SG needs to deal with that turret right there. But with that, they're gonna lose the mid lane turret though.
Unfortunately, they will still lose that. With most of the members from Flash currently hunkering down underneath of their own base, Hades being the only one that is slightly more daring to be burning the water elemental boss down.
But this time around, he gets tagged around. Hades down low without his Viraga armor. Does have the immortality. But oh, Nan gets kicked by JPL. Vanix will be able to secure that kill for now. Cortese taking that one. Wings by Wings will try to press forward, try to chase down Absolute Zero. But then again, Flash SG is too busy defending.
As they slowly move on over, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We do have Absolute Zero. They tried their best, of course, to just run for the hills and back home again. They did an amicable push down in the top lane. It brought the turret all the way down to close to about 10%. They didn't manage to bring down the T2 in the middle lane, though, but hey, that's fine. As long as they manage to get the T1 in the middle lane, I think that is already a very big consolation. However, though, one thing that we always consider is that the very first Lord that you pick up, you want that Lord to be able to push down all of the exterior turrets, which in this case, Absolute Zero did not manage to.
Right now, once again, you know, it's a stalemate. Back to basics, back to zero, literally. Absolute Zero going up against Flash SG. 10-10 is the kill score. Gold lead wise, more or less the same. Items wise, I think in terms of power spikes, they're more or less the same. But don't forget, as a Moskov, you get more with lesser. Your items are a little bit more cheaper. The Wind of Nature already secured will do wonders against if Vanix wants to do a 1v1s against Salas.
As right now, Salas does not have the wand, but I think that that's gonna be fine for now, because we're not always gonna be, if not, we will never see that 1v1 between the marksmen unless that both of them is the last member remaining. So in most situations, we are looking for back from front to back in some of these situations. However, Flash SG, what they have for themselves is actually some pick-off within of their mix because of JPL. However, the main way that they want to play is that they want to kind of death ball it with Vanix's spear that pierces.
To play,
The kick
JPL kicks Muji but doesn't follow up right there. But Curtisi defended airstrike, deals the damage. SOD will go white for now. Salas will get tagged on by Ken. Rapido tried to peel it for the team, but Hades and also the rest of the members on the side of Team Flash will be able to deal with the CC coming up from Absolute Zero. And now Salas tries to gun down the members, but they have already lost too much. They lost 2 members.
2 members down. That means the Flash SG have got a free walk over to the Lord, and also a very free turret, almost free turret actually, down to the bottom lane, as that was a very heavy push. But at least Rapidude, Nan as well as Salas did manage to deal with that pretty effectively.
Yep. That JPL kick really saved, just really broke that stalemate right there. Don't forget, both of these 2 compositions heavily relying on their pick comms, right? Now it's like a Russian roulette kind of thing. It's either Rapidude or JPL is making the game for both these 2 teams. If JPL gets a pick off, good pick off, mind you. If you pick off Rapidude, that doesn't make sense. But right there, he was able to pick up Bucci. That's what makes the absolute difference right there.
So at this point, I gonna have to really think that it's not everyone is fair game. Rapidude has to focus onto a very specific player, right?
Yep.
In the previous game,
He's doing that. Curtisi gets dragged, and now he gets stunned. Nan will be able to catch him right there. And don't forget Vendetta coming in the backline, but don't forget the Lord is actually pushing down bot. Flash SG is more than happy to take this team fight, and Absolute Zero is falling for it. Vanix picking up Vendetta, and now it's going to be Absolute Zero trying to go for the defense. Fuji! Pick gets taken down by Flash SG, and the Lord finally secured by Absolute Zero for now. They are safe, but not too sure for long.
the Lord takes the L. Middle lane, creep waves marching in, and should be able to deal with this TU2 with no issues whatsoever.
Yep.
It's currently 16 minutes into this game. The bottom lane T3 has already have definitely seen the better of this day. Currently down to about 40% HP. Just a harder sneeze should be enough to bring it down.
Yeah, but Flash SG, relying on the Lord, they don't really have a lot of pushing power. Surprisingly, right? Like, Absolute Zero, you thought that they don't really have a lot of wave clear, but seems like, you know, Flash SG is having a lot of trouble trying to crack down the basis of Absolute Zero.
Yeah, the thing is, they have a composition that does pretty well as a siege comp, with the fact that they have the Faster and also with the Moskov. I think that the Moskov really requires that Malefic Roar before he can realistically be able to touch these turrets with great ease. Because at this moment in time, if he were to touch the turrets, he's actually a little bit closer to the team fight than if he has the Malefic Roar.
JPL just scouting out information, but feels like Absolute Zero is just stacking as 5 around in the mid lane. It's up to how Flash SG balance out these waves.
With the creep waves now completely cleared out, the jungle creep that is, with Absolute Zero just kind of hiding and hunkering down within of their own base, Team Flash, they're not too interested in overextending too. So hiding in their own brushes will be a good call, while they wait for the upcoming Lord, which will happen somewhere in 20 seconds.
Stuffing out information, that's exactly what Flash SG is trying to do against Absolute Zero. But I think it's easy to predict where Absolute Zero is. They always have the habit of stacking as 5 across all around the board. If you see one, rest assured the rest of the members should be there.
As of now,
Hello?
Flash is somewhere in the map, but Absolute Zero, they themselves have no idea.
See this purple circle? Okay, diversion play right there. Nobody from Team Flash will be able to see the consume play right there. Also going to mess everything up. Vanix, the main target from the side of Absolute Zero, will not be able to find him though. Vanix and Curtisi safely tucked away behind the front line. And now JPL will be using the consume play of themselves. Absolute Zero committing a little bit too much for that one.
The grab also didn't manage to unfortunately pull anyone closer over to the rest of Flash.
Sorry,
Pause.
sorry.
Pause.
My elbow
Pause.
touched the pause button.
Unpause.
You look like you're gonna worship an unpause called right there. But it is nail biting, right? Even though Team Flash, you thought that they had the advantage, but it seems like nope. It feels like Absolute Zero can easily turn the tide around because of Buji as that Lo Yi.
I do think that they have that surprise potential, right? They can just kind of pop by from behind and surprise kind of thing, right? But
Surprise.
Yeah,
Some price.
yeah, some fries,
Yeah.
some fries, right? Oh, okay. So thank God
Yep.
that was a very short pause.
Looking for some price right here. Nan, ooh, getting busted down for the side of Absolute Zero. Flash SG this time around is a red carpet for the Lord. I don't think Absolute Zero will try anything weird unless you're talking about Silas Death Sonata try to steal that Lord. He had the idea, JPL blocked it.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. But I think that is fine. However, what's not fine is the fact that now Absolute Zero, they are in literally Absolute Zero. Because they are now all the way back home in their base. Not exactly a barren wasteland just yet. However, the middle lane and the bottom lane T3 is currently not in the best state. With the Lord, and oh, by the way, this is Luminous. Wait, it's not Luminous. Wait, it is Luminous. Wait, is it Luminous? Luminous 20 minutes. 18 minutes. Luminous Lord is marching down. So that turret in the bottom lane, guaranteed down. Middle lane, not guaranteed. However, the waves are moving in together, especially the top lane. As you see, we already have a very strong, slow push. Okay, maybe not that slow, but we have a strong push that's coming in. Salas managed to clear that out, but they still gotta have to watch out for this upcoming wave, which will do quite a number to their base.
It's a very easy way for the side of Absolute Zero to fix it unless JPL has something else. He is the zoner, and he will be able to zone the rest of the members out. Absolute Zero bottom lane already cracked open. Mid lane looking to fall very, very soon. Easy right here. Oh, he gets tagged out. Hades bursts down the CC from the side of Absolute Zero. Curtizi pick up Silas, and now it's going to be Team Flash going in ham onto the core, and there's nobody from the side of Absolute Zero to defend this as Flash SG goes up to the grand finals in a beautiful head and shoulders wipeout.
Wipe out my head and shoulders. And final moment. AZ. They were close. But alas, not exactly close enough in the final game in order to claim their ticket over to the grand finals. As such, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a victor of this lower bracket finals. Flash defeated AZ in a 3-1 fashion, going back up to the grand finals to once again meet RSG.
Oh, that's definitely going to be an interesting match, Abstract. That's going to be a revenge match. Mind you, yesterday was a best of 5. This time around is going to be best of 7. But I also have to congratulate, in a sense, Absolute Zero. That is a very good MPL Singapore Season 9 run for them as well. Starting all the way from the Challenger stage.
Third place.
Third place.
Third place.
Yep, third place. And not only just that, made Team Flash sweat in the lower bracket finals.
Boy, oh boy.
And don't forget, they started basically with no tournament life. They don't have the luxury of an upper bracket.
You are right, because
and they got
when they faced Flash.
Oh no, they faced
early.
Flash too. Oh yeah, sorry.
They faced Flash, and then then they went down. So technically they did have that double limbs. After that, then it just kind of like straight road all the way.
For them.
Yeah, straight road all the way.
Yep. No Cinderella story for them though.
Unfortunate though, because I really, really do admire what Absolute Zero has got out for them. I more or less have a very good idea as to how the team plays, and in fact, I think that they're probably one of the more diverse team when it comes down to strategies.
Yeah.
At no point, right? At no point, I will look at Flash and just be like, and this game looks like they are opening up for pickoff. I think they're good at that. And this game they're opening up for deathball. I think they're good at that. This game they're opening up Ube. I think they're good at that. This is something that I can say for Absolute Zero because they pulled it off. And they managed to make it work.
Yep.
However, I think that what they're missing out is that they do have got the strategy. However, they don't have exactly an archetype out of this strategy in order to kind of change things up a little bit, to kind of shake up the competition.
That's what makes Absolute Zero scary. You don't know what they're gonna do next. Same could be said about Team Flash as well. You also don't know sometimes whether they will pull out Selena as well. Very glad to see JPL bringing back the Cho. And also, you never know when the Baxia Angela Wombo combo comes out as well. The Gunnar could come out, the Hellcat could come out. And that's something that we also have to look forward to as we go into the grand finals later on.
I think that, although if I really have to mention about this game or talk about this game, I think that the Baxia pick is it's kind of a wasted pick, right? But to be fair, the Angela has been taken out pretty early into the second phase, so they don't really have the opportunity to pick that out. What they want, generally, is that they want to go for early game. right? Early game plays. They picked up the Loi. Generally, is very good. Loi, I feel the Loi fits in most compositions. However, the Loi realistically comes in more clutch in the late stages because of the repositioning things that you can do.
Yep.
But what I'm specifically looking out for is a mage that can go toe to toe, or rather can stand side by side with a Baxia, invade enemies in a roaming trio, because Baxia is such a solid monolith in the front lines. You just need someone to really help out Baxia to do even more damage.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly really interesting, right? Like I really love how this goes, you know, like how the whole turn of events, especially for
Mhm.
this part, it's definitely not easy to be able to play on site, because don't forget there's also a lot of pressure, a lot of, you know, not only just the pressure from external, but also pressure to perform well in front of an audience. That's
Indeed.
something that, you know, kudos over the side of Absolute Zero.
Yeah. So Absolute Zero is really unfortunate to see them bow out, but this is an amazing feat coming in from Absolute Zero. Once again, we mentioned challenger team that made it all the way to third place.
Yep.
We have quite a bit of MPL teams that didn't even make it to third place. They came in first season, boom, third place.
Yeah, the last time something like that happened was Team Evil,
Team Evil.
top 4.
Yes.
But with that said, ladies and gents, we're going to throw back to live. Lawrence, what do you have for us?
Alright people, welcome to the MPL SG Season 9 season finale. As you guys have witnessed earlier on is Absolute Zero versus Flash SG, and obviously the victorious is Flash SG. So I have the coach here with me to give us a few words on what he thinks about the match earlier on, or if you want to explain anything, please feel free. Alright ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our Flash SG coach.
First of all, thank you to Flash supporters for supporting us. I know you guys had to come down pretty early today, and we have a long match to go. So we'll try to do our best and not disappoint you guys who are supporting all our players and everyone here. So give yourself a hands of applause. And then for Absolute Zero, I think they put up a good fight. When we faced them week 1, I already called it. This team is top 3 potential, and they prove it. So I think this team has a lot of potential, and in the future MPL, this team is a top 2 contender for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so right now, Absolute Zero is walking home with the 3rd place, and Flash SG will fight in the grand finals against RSG. So, can I just ask you, alright, Beyond, right? Alright, can I just ask you, how confident are you that your team will make it through the grand finals? Are you confident of it? For 1 to 10, how confident?
I would say 10. It's always good to be confident. So 10. Why? Because we put in the effort, we put in the resources, we put in the time, and my players all work hard. So I think we deserve it.
All right, and just one more question is, what do you think of the 4 matches early on? What do you think of it?
I think games were a bit shaky. We're warming up, you know. So I think it was a good game, definitely a good game. Absolute Zero put a good performance. We might expect RSG to put a good performance as well. Hoping to face them in the finals, hoping it will go. I mean, I think the crowd won 7 games, but let's see how many games will go.
Okay. Thank you, Beyond. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so very shortly we are going to be heading on to our grand finals, which is once again Flash SG versus RSG. Can I just have a show of hands here? Who here is supporting RSG? RSG, make some noise. One more time. RSG, make some noise. Okay, Flash SG, make some noise. Okay. Wow. Okay. I love it. Love the energy. Okay, I believe RSG fans still coming in. But in the meantime, all right, to those who are nearby, you know, around the area, Tampines, if you have friends around coming down as well, do let them know we still have some seats available. To those of you guys streaming back at home, we are here at Tampines Mall, Level 4 Open Plaza for an intense series. There will also be activities and prizes to be won as well. If you guys look to your back, to the behind this area is our Ignite Gaming, Flash SG, and even some diamonds for you guys to win, and a 1v1 booth for you guys to look out for as well. Now, in the meantime, we are also going to be casting the performance earlier on, the performance stats earlier on, and also who the MVP is for the previous game. So, who do you guys think is the MVP from Flash SG? Who again? JPL. Okay, here's some JPL. Okay. Now how about we let the casters decide who is it, and let us all know how the performance stats was and who the MVP will be. Casters, on to you.
Very much, Lawrence, but I don't think we have the power and the right.
No, we can.
We can?
We can.
Oh, really? We do? We have the
Yeah.
power?
JPL, ah? JPL, ah? Okay.
Huh?
Done.
Huh? I'm not aware that I have this power.
No, you don't. I do. Okay, well, who do you want the MVP?
I don't know.
Who do you want?
I don't
Who do you
know.
want? Name it.
Now,
Name one.
now that you give me a choice, I actually cannot decide.
You know why he can't decide? You know why he can't decide? Because there's no Diablo here. So you tell me now. Who do you want to MVP?
Diablo.
Hades?
Diablo.
Vanek? Oh, Diablo MVP.
Oh, stop my beating
Name
heart.
one. Come on, name one.
Stop
name
my
one.
beating heart. Okay.
You want to find out the extent of your power? Who's your MVP?
I cannot.
Name one.
I cannot. But
Okay, the crowd chooses and JPL. We'll give JPL.
anyways, there's also another thing that I would never get used to is listening to Zays speaking English, because usually when we watch the stream, he speaks in Indo as well.
That is true, right?
Yeah,
it's always
right.
BI, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
apart from that, let's take a look at the post stats. Hades played a perfect game, no death to this man, and if you notice, see Halberd as well, added on damage and also anti-regen, anti-shields mainly because of Bougie.
Yeah. Okay, so down to the nitty-gritty and really talk about the potential for MVP here, right? Because for Team Flash's lineup, it really boils down to every single one of these players to make their role stand out. They have a very specific role that they're gonna have to do, right? First things first, we need to identify that Vendetta is probably one of the main damage dealers for the team because he deals percentage-based damage, which will be a really pain in everyone's behind because of the fact that we're looking at Glue, very tanky boy. We're looking at Xbox, supposedly a very tanky boy, which is not something that a CC is supposed to be able to shred down because of the raw amount of HP that Hades have. Is very little.
Yeah, if
But
you
he has a lot of Frioga armor, so that's a different concept.
Yeah,
That's a different mechanic.
yeah, on top of that, if you notice, right, like for the side of Silas, 15k gold. He's a very expensive boy.
He does have a lot of gold.
Yeah, he does
For
have a lot
a
of gold.
losing team,
For a gold laner.
losing
especially
team.
Granger, because Granger needs a lot more gold because of these BOD
very
and Malefic.
expensive items.
See Halberd, they have very expensive items,
Yep.
correct.
As opposed to a Moskov, corrosion size, golden stuff, DHS.
But still in game.
Yeah, still
still
win
win
game.
game.
So,
Yep.
kind of a cheater bug, if you ask me. But all in all, I really do think that when it comes down to creating a tempo for this game, I would definitely say that when it comes, Hades definitely played a very good part in snatching all of these the objectives and
Yep.
all. But JPL sets the pace
I
of
agree
the game.
with you. Okay, I agree with you to this extent, because remember halfway through during the cast I was talking about like how these two, they're on a pick composition, right?
Yes.
Both of them
Both of
holding
them are
on the
pick.
loading gun.
Yes.
It's who shoots the fastest and who shoots first. JPL shot first,
Yes.
get a good pickup, and that's what broke that stalemate.
So far, I don't exactly remember all too much of Rapidude being able to be the first draw, to be the one that's better with the quick draw, right? JPL constantly being able to identify where people is, and this is very important.
Yeah.
This part is very important because the opponent have a Luo Yi. To have JPL to play as a Cho, it enables them vision. This is JPL's signature hero. Whenever you see JPL playing on the show, you know that he's going out and above and beyond, and just literally tag onto the opponent's roam. Where's the roamer? Where's the mid laner? Where's everyone? And then he passes on this information in order to make these some of these cross-map plays. Even though Team Flash is not a lineup that allows them to do that, and we did see a couple of times that Vanek tries to join in the action with the SODs, allows all of them unfortunately missed out. But I will still definitely say that Team Flash did manage to win some of these fights to a very small margin,
Yeah.
which eventually still managed to help them win in the late stages, solely because of the fact that AZ was not able to play their early game.
Yeah, and really, it's just that small margin of error is the one that really separates these two teams. So like, I mean, we mentioned how it's not easy for Absolute Zero to really meet this hill and yet still make Flash SG. Give Flash SG some trouble. Let's take a look at the MVP for this particular game.
It's going to be
ladies and
JPL,
gents.
definitely for sure.
Should we? Yeah, JPL.
See, told you. We have the power.
We do have the power.
We do
Wow.
have the power.
What would I do with this power?
Not abuse it.
Damn. That's one idea. That
So
was one idea.
0 to 3 is to 9. We got JPL setting the pace of the game and disabling the enemy's possibility and disabling the enemy's one of the main win conditions of creating diversions.
Definitely not.
And pick off, of course.
Definitely not distracted by the low E diversions as well. Well, of
Mhm.
course, like what I mentioned, I think he's the one that has the faster quick draw. And even if you draw quick, you also need to aim properly. And JPL was able to do so.